Speaking on his LBC show, the former UKIP leader claimed it was disgusting that elected representatives of the Catalan community are now facing trials and possibly lengthy prison sentences following Catalonia's controversial independence referendum last year. Former Education Minister Professor Clara Ponsatí handed herself into a police station in Edinburgh at the news she was made the subject of a European arrest warrant last week. Mr. Farage claimed the safeguard of the European project in Spain had led to the undemocratic prosecution of many former Catalan leaders. He said, "The big story of this week that has barely been covered is the fact that senior Catalan politicians, those that support separation from Spain, those that support independence and those that are vehemently critical of the European Union, all over Europe this week people are being arrested, put in prison, are facing trial and in some cases sentences of up to 30 years in prison for treason and sedition. And you know something? Not one of these Catalan leaders has used violence or has advocated violence, and yet this is how they are being treated." Getty looked Nigel Farage blasts EU and Madrid's treatment of former Catalan ministers. Well now it's actually on our own doorstep because a former Catalan minister is facing extradition to Spain, having handed herself into the police in Scotland. Clara Ponsatí was made the subject of a European arrest warrant last week and she gave herself up before they found her to a police station in Edinburgh. She is sought by Madrid on charges of violent rebellion and the misappropriation of public funds. Funny, isn't it? When the big state wants to do you down, it's always misappropriation of public funds. So there we have it, the European arrest warrant being used now on British soil, to take this woman, the former education minister from Catalonia, back to Madrid where she will face trial and a long prison sentence. Do you know something? You won't read a single word about that in tomorrow's newspapers, as if no one now cares about Catalonia. If anything was a reason to leave the EU is the way Madrid and the EU are treating people who have a different political point of view. Nigel Farage: well, they blooming well should. I tell you what, if anything was a reason to leave the European Union is the way Madrid and the European Union are treating people who simply have a different political point of view. I think it's disgusting." Challenged by one of his listeners on Facebook to keep his nose out of Spain and to help sort out the mess of Brexit he has made, Mr. Farage replied, "Tomorrow, Morris, 1 year to go. 1 year to liberation, to independence, to what we voted for, or at least I hope so. And as to keeping my nose out of Spain woes, yeah, you're quite right, Morris. I tell you what, as they're imprisoning elected people and former ministers, let's say nothing. When they start hanging a few, let's say nothing. Let's just pretend none of it's happening, because we need to maintain, Morris, the integrity of the European project. Let's all say nothing." Professor Ponsatí returned to Scotland earlier in March, having been in Belgium since fleeing Spain with Catalonia's ex-leader Carles Puigdemont and 3 other former cabinet members following an unsuccessful bid to declare independence from Spain in October. She had resumed working at the University of St Andrews in Fife, but a Spanish judge issued arrest warrants on Friday for Professor Ponsatí and the other fugitive politicians, including Mr. Puigdemont, who was detained by police in Germany. A crowdfunding drive to raise money for Professor Ponsatí's extradition defense reached £165,000 just over 2 hours after it was launched on Wednesday morning.